Today we are looking at Stiff-Leg Deadlift, another great move for lower body development, specifically hamstrings and glutes. Here we see the setup. This part's important. You want to have your feet about shoulder width apart and your hands about shoulder width apart as well. Liz is using an overhand grip here, but if you go heavier, you can also use an alternating grip where one hand is over and one hand is under. On a traditional deadlift, it's usually common for you to keep the bar rolling up your shins and up your legs throughout the movement. On a stiff leg deadlift, that isn't necessary. Still keep the bar very close to your body. Make sure to bring it up in a straight line, but you don't need to drag it up your shins like you do in a traditional deadlift. An important part of this movement is to begin the movement by squeezing your glutes and pulling up through your hamstrings. Now you can't really see it in the video here, but Liz is starting the movement by contracting her glutes and then reinforcing that at the top of the movement with a squeeze and a slight thrust forward. Now her main goal with this is to target the glutes, so she's concentrating on that the entire time. If your goal is hamstrings, obviously focus your mind more on your hamstrings. But here she's thinking about squeezing the glutes throughout the whole movement, especially at the top, and beginning the movement by squeezing the glutes first. Here we're looking at another variation. If you are a more flexible individual, or if you just happen to have long arms, if you're tall, this could be good for you. We've got Liz standing on a riser here, and what that is doing is it's popping her up another 2 inches off the ground, which lets her get a stretch in the hamstrings. This is a great catalyst to use if you're used to the deadlift and you want to try something new without necessarily adding more weight, more reps, or more sets. Adding that extra couple inches of stretch really does make all the difference. Now the next one we're going to see is deadlift performed with dumbbells. Now this is one I recommend for people who are newer to deadlifting and not quite comfortable with the movement yet. It is an awkward move, so using the dumbbells will help you maintain proper form in a much more comfortable, natural way. You'll see when Liz picks up the dumbbells here and begins, she brings them up to her side. Now what that does is it makes it much easier for you to pull your shoulder blades back and together at the top of the movement and stand at attention. That's an important part of deadlifting because you want to make sure that your back is straight throughout the movement. You're not going to want to round it because you risk injury. Now the setup is the same here. Still shoulder width apart for the feet, shoulder width apart for the hands. Starting the movement by contracting the glutes and shoulder blades back and together and squeezing all the way down, and again at the top of the movement standing at attention. And there you go. Deadlifts can be used for either back or legs. Liz and I mostly use deadlifts for leg day. Especially Liz, her primary focus is going to be glutes and hamstrings as opposed to quads because she's fairly quad dominant. So being able to target those two muscle groups without hitting the quads is essential for nice even development.